Hi, I dropped in briefly one more time, and this is Pearlie Martin, and I dropped in to say that the reason you're stuck in the past is because you're focusing on the past. The Apostle Paul tells us in Philippians 3:13 and 14 that, that how he's forgetting those things which are behind, how he say he pressed towards the mark of the prize of the high calling. He said, brother, I count not myself to have apprehended everything that he was telling them in Philippians 3. Read that entire chapter. But he said, this is one thing that I do. I'm forgetting those things which are behind me, and I'm reaching forth unto those things which are before. Which are before me. And he said, I press towards the mark of the prize of the high calling. So he said two things here. He said he's forgetting those things which are behind him, because he was talking about the lifestyle he used to live when he was a Pharisee, how he believed in circumcision and things like that. And you know what? And that's the same thing with us. Those things, the reason we can't press into those things which are in front of us is because we're stuck on those things that we used to do. But the Apostle Paul says, I'm forgetting those things. I no longer live by the law where I used to believe that you had to be circumcised, to be a Christian, or, I'm not living by circumcision anymore. I count all that stuff as garbage. I threw that stuff in the trash, and my main focus now is on Jesus Christ. And I'm forgetting how I used to be. He used to persecute Christians. I'm not focusing on any of that anymore. I'm forgetting those things. I'm forgetting what they did to me. I'm forgetting what I did to them. I'm forgetting about how I used to be. I'm forgetting about all that stuff so I can move forward, so I can press forward into those things that God has in front of me. You say, well, I can forgive, but I don't forget. Well, of course, unless you have Alzheimer's or amnesia, yeah. But so what I'm saying is we choose to forgive, and we choose our focus. That's what I'm trying to say. So the Apostle Paul said, I'm not going to focus on, when I used to believe that you had to be circumcised. I don't believe that anymore. I count that as garbage. I believe in Jesus Christ, that you have to go through him. Okay. And it's the same. We don't have we don't have to focus on what happened to us. We choose not to meditate. We choose how do we forget those things behind us, since we got a mind to remember? By choosing not to focus on it, by choosing not to meditate on it, by choosing not to concentrate on it, but to concentrate instead and focus instead on the things that God has for us, focusing on who we are in Christ, not allowing what we went through to define who we are as individuals. That's not who I am. That was something that I allowed my flesh to admit to commit. That wasn't even me. That was the flesh, the sin that was warring in my members. Remember what the Apostle Paul said? Let's focus. The reason you're stuck in your past is because you choose to focus on your past. You choose not to focus and to meditate on and to concentrate on what Christ did for you. We're so focused on what they did to you that you can't focus on what Christ has already done for us. And so the way we choose to forget is by changing our focus and setting our mind on the things above and not on things that's below. Don't allow what happened to you to define you, because when you do, you will become stuck in your story. And it'll keep us from moving forward. It'll keep us from being able to press into the things of God. That's the trick of the enemy. He wants you to sit around and meditate and concentrate on what they did to you. But what did they do to Christ? Let that be your focus. If you want to be the victim, think about what they did to Christ. He was an innocent bystander. He really was perfect in all his ways. I mean, he went about doing nothing but good. But yet he was purpose driven. He could not be stuck on what Christ could not sit around and be focused on what they did to him. Matter of fact, he said, Father, forgive them, because he understood the fight. He said, they don't even know what they're doing. In other words, they're operating under the influence of the evil one, of the devil. Ephesians 6:12 say we wrestle not against flesh and blood. So forgetting those things, how do we forget? By focusing on what Christ did, focusing on those things which are ahead, pressing into those things which are in front of us, and not being focused on what we used to do or what we used to did or what they did to us or what we did to them. Choose not to focus on that. When that thought comes, cast down that imagination and just begin to magnify the Lord. Magnify the promise and not the problem. And as you begin to magnify him, you'll find yourself moving forward and not being stuck in your story and not being stuck on what they did to you. And that will make forgiveness a lot easy too. But understand the fight. Ephesians 6:12. When you understand the fight, that you're not wrestling against flesh and blood, forgiveness will be a lot easier for you because you'll no longer see them as being your enemy. You have to know who your adversary is, so you won't be thinking that you're fighting against flesh and blood people. I want to end it here. Don't be stuck in your story. Focus. Choose to focus. When you learn to, the way you learn to forget is by choosing to focus. Focus on God above. Focus on God's goodness. Focus on the good things that God has in store for you. Spend your time focusing on that and not focusing on what they did to you, what they said to you. None of that is important. But press in. Press towards the mark and the prize of the high calling. And continue to read the entire chapter for Philippians 3. Philippians 3. Set your affections on things above, not on those things below. Set it on above things that are eternal, not on things below, which are temporal and subject to change. But focus on your race. And choose not to focus. Choose not to concentrate or meditate on what they did. That's how you forget. Choose not to meditate or concentrate on those things that they did to you, but choose to meditate and concentrate on what Christ has already done for you. I'm going to end it here. You guys subscribe to my YouTube page, Pearlie Martin, or even Rap Time Teen Talk. That's another one of my YouTube pages. I've been making videos since about 2004. You guys like my Facebook page, Dating Identifier, Marrying God's Way. Join the prayer room. We like to pray. Stop the violence. Clothes for Souls. If you'd like to donate clothes to us, follow us there. And if you'd like to write books, if you have a book and you want it published, contact me on my Facebook page, Pearlie Martin Books. You guys keep looking for the good in your day. Focus on the God who's so good, and don't meditate and concentrate. Don't give all your attention on what they did to you or what they said to you. And I'm going to end it here. Have a blessed, wonderful evening.